All right. So yesterday we did the physical quantities and measurements. If you have any questions, please let me know. Today we are gonna start the second part of this, and this is basically called scalar and vector. Scalars and vectors, basically. Okay. So the first thing we should know is what exactly is a scalar and what is a vector. So scalar means a quantity that has a magnitude only. Magnitude basically means size or value, like any number, whereas a vector is a quantity that has a magnitude and a direction. So basically we have some list of scalars that we should know, like distance is a scalar, time is a scalar, speed is a scalar, and mass is a scalar, energy is a scalar, even temperature is a scalar. Because all of these have just the value, they do not have a specific direction. Whereas we also got some lists of vectors, mainly displacement, and then force. Force could be anything like weight, etc. Okay. Then you got velocity, you got acceleration, momentum is also a vector, you have like electric field strength is also vector, even gravitational field strength is a vector. What else could be? Moment is a vector, right? So there are vectors. So basically what you need to understand is any quantity that has a value and has a specific direction is a vector. So keep that in mind and write it down, please, now. All right. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. So everybody's here. Okay. for zine in Awais innocent. Okay. Right. Now, so the next thing we're gonna do is basically we have to learn the calculation of resultant force. So first of all, we should know that if two vectors are parallel and in the same direction, so what do we do? So suppose there is a body, one vector is like 10 newtons here, one vector is like 5 newtons here. So right now their arrows point to the same direction and they have a value. So to find the resultant, so the resultant of this will be 10 newtons plus 5 newtons, and we're going to write 15 newtons towards right, because that's where, when you add up, the resultant is. If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, now the next thing is when two vectors are parallel and in opposite directions. So what do we do? So you have a body, say you have 10 newtons like this and 5 newtons on the opposite direction. Then what you do? The resultant of these will be 10 newtons minus, subtract them, and it's 5 newtons remaining, and because 10 was the bigger one, so it is towards right. If you have any questions, please let me know. Right.
No, sir, no questions.
Good. Now, the third type is when two vectors are perpendicular to each other. When I say perpendicular, it means basically 90 degree to each other. So suppose you have ten newtons on here, 5 newtons here, and they have a 90 degree angle between them. Now the point is, how do we solve this? To solve this, we have to use a method, and the method is called the head to tail rule. So what you do is you make any vector first, like 5 newtons, Remember that this is the tail of the vector and this is the head of the vector. So it basically is head to tail, which means head of the first vector should be connected to the tail of the second one. Okay, this means that this 10 newtons should be placed here and exactly drawn the same way, but this time you can see right here that it is head of the first to tail of the second, as you can see. So head of the first vector is connected to tail of the second vector. Then what you do is that you use, so from the start to the end you draw another vector, and that would be the resultant of these two. So what you do, you always start from like the start to end. Remember that, like that. Okay. The next thing you should do is that you basically use the Pythagoras theorem . So the Pythagoras theorem would be the resultant square equals to 1 vector square times 2 vector square, like this, right? So you might have learned this in math already. You take the under root to remove the square, pull up your calculator and then solve it. Under root 5 square plus 10 square. So it is going to be 11.1, 11.2. So resultant will be 11.2 newtons. Any questions? Please let me know.
Sir, no question. Can you scroll up, sir?
Yes. Okay. Now, you guys have written this? Everybody?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Hussein and Farzeen?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Now, so truly you should understand something, and that is when you see a vector, whether it's a force or velocity, it does not matter. Suppose there is like 4 meters per second and there is 3 meters per second given. So you should think like this, that if somebody is going here and then also here, So the result of both of the velocities would be somewhere in the middle. Whether you make head to tail rule or not, you should remember it would be somewhere in the middle. So without even making this, right, the vector triangle, you can actually see this and then directly use the head to tail rule. So this is the resultant. Directly use the Pythagoras theorem. So 4 square plus 3 square under root would actually give you 16 plus 9, that is 25, which is just 5. So the resultant could be 5 meters per second. So either you think like this, that okay, if something is going on the right and on the top, so the resultant would be somewhere in the middle of these two, and then I can use Pythagoras theorem, or you can place this vector right here like this, so it makes a head to tail rule, as you can see, and then you can find it. So it's basically the same thing if you see. Alright, please draw this too. Okay. Now sometimes the vectors are not 90 degrees. So what you do then? So we are going to now learn graphically solving vectors to find resultant. Now how do we do that? So basically you really have two choices here. So first we are going to learn the parallelogram method. So please follow along. If you have a protractor and a ruler, please get it now. So you guys have 2 minutes. Please bring your protractor and ruler. Alright, now, so suppose you have two vectors now. One is like 10 newtons, the other is like 5 newtons, and they have 20-degree angle between them. Okay. So what you do is, the first step is to pick a scale. Generally you have to pick the scale, but if it's given you have to follow that. What scale means is that I say on my ruler I could keep 1 Newton equals to 2 centimeter. Alright. So this means that in fact this will be too big. Let's keep 1 centimeter equals to 2 newtons. Okay, that would make it smaller. Now what you're going to do is you are going to draw you're going to follow this scale throughout the whole thing. So step 2 is that you draw any vector of your choice first. What it means is, suppose I pick the 10 one. So according to my scale, I see if 1 centimeter is 2 newtons, then 10 newtons will be 5 centimeters. I can, figure out by cross multiplying. So on my page, I'm going to draw a line of 5 centimeter like this. Then what I'm going to do is, this is basically 5 centimeter is equivalent to 10 newtons according to my scale, so it's fine. Then I'm going to put the protractor like this, where it should be, right? And then measure 20 degrees on it, right? So step 3 is to draw the next vector according to the scale. So the next vector is like 5 newtons, and 5 newtons on my scale would mean 2.5 centimeters. So I'm gonna extend this line about 2.5 centimeter, just like that. Okay, so basically 5 centimeter means 10 newtons on my scale, and 2.5 centimeter means 5 newtons on my scale. Okay, then I have to basically draw parallel lines. So how do we do that? Because we want to make a parallelogram. So I put my protractor right here and then measure 20 degrees again, and then draw the same length like this. So this is again 2.5 centimeter, and then I could just draw, like, connect these two. This will already be a parallel line like that, right? So this will automatically be 5 centimeter, which is equivalent to this, right? So now that I have drawn the vectors, like, so I can remove my protractor. Okay, now I have the parallelogram. So now you need to remember that this point was our start of the drawing, and this point is the end of our drawing because we finished here. So we are going to make a line from the start to end, and this line will be the resultant vector. Okay, so you can write step 5 actually. Draw a line from start to end as resultant. Now step 6 is measure the line and using your ruler, using your ruler, and convert back to scale, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to put your ruler, measure this line. Let's suppose this line comes out to be, suppose 14 centimeter. So I'm going to say, okay, 1 centimeter was equivalent to 2 newtons, then 14 centimeter would be equivalent to 28 newtons. So which means that the resultant of this diagram is 28 newtons. Is it clear? The next thing you can do is you can also put your protractor, find this angle theta. Maybe this comes out to be 8 degrees. So we can write that the direction of this vector is 8 degree from horizontal, because I've taken angle from the horizontal vector. So that's how you basically solve this. If you have any questions, please let me know. Pretty good actually, right? Hussein, Awais, Farzeen, everything is clear?
Yes, sir, everything is clear.
Alright, you guys have your protractor and everything there? Okay. So I think it's good that we solve one question, okay? Just give me a second. I'm uploading that question and then I'm creating an assignment that you guys need to do right now.
Sir, I cannot do like the assignment right now because I'm outside my house, like far away from my house.
Okay. The others will do then, I guess, I know.
Sir, so how much long it will take for others?
I don't know. Should take 5 minutes at max. Just give me 1 minute, please. Awais, when you go home, you have to submit the assignment, okay?
Yeah, okay, sir.
Okay. It's coming up. So everybody, please do this. I'm creating an assignment on Google Classroom. Please make sure that you submit that there. All right. You have 5 minutes now. Okay, I've assigned it. 5 minutes from now, please submit. Hurry up. Okay. Any answers? Fazeen and Hussain? Fazeen and Hussain, you guys are done or no? You guys can hear me? All right. So what you're gonna do is that you take a scale. Suppose because this is like 6 newtons and 8 newtons, so I can take like 1 centimeter equals to 1 newton. You could do that, or 2 newtons, it's up to you, it does not matter. So what you do, you draw a line of 6 centimeter, and then the angle you take from basically you can't do it here, to do it in a separate space. So 6 centimeter, and then you put your protractor and then take 40 degrees like this, and then draw the 8 centimeter vector, then put a protractor again, take like 40 degrees like this, and then a parallel line really. What you do then is, then because you started from here and that is the end, so you draw a line from start to end like this, and that would be your resultant. Now when you measure it using your ruler, when you put a ruler, right, so you should get almost 20 centimeters here, which means because you took 1 Newton equals to 1 centimeter, so 12 centimeter would be equivalent to 12 newtons, hence your answer should also be 12 newtons actually. Please let me know if you do not understand. I still want your work. Okay. Alright. If you have any questions now, please let me know. Otherwise, we're done with this. Tomorrow, we are going to do a worksheet. So, you guys should have your protractor and ruler with you. Okay. See you. Bye.
Okay, sir. Bye.